Hi, welcome to my views. Two news stories. First one is from Sudan-Ethiopia border, which is closed. Which country closed this border? Sudan-Ethiopia relations are not very good, though Burhan was in Ethiopia uh, last week. Still, tensions are there. What happened? What is the reason behind the closure of an important border crossing? Secondly, an Ethiopian minister shared a picture from the sea a few hours ago. Who is she? What did she say? Why is that Ethiopian government machinery is continuing the narrative that no matter what happens, Ethiopia wants access to the sea? Firstly, viewers, Sudan-Ethiopia border, where we have been seeing clashes since 2021. In 2021, when Ethiopian forces were busy in Tigray conducting a military operation against Tigray forces, the Sudanese military took advantage of the situation and took control of territories on Sudan-Ethiopia border, which are internationally recognized territories of Sudan. Al-Fashaga, Greater Fashaga, Smaller Fashaga was under the control of Ethiopian farmers, but due to the war in northern Ethiopia, Ethiopian forces could not retaliate. They could not respond, and Sudanese military took almost more than 90% of greater and smaller Fashaga. But tensions have persisted on Sudan-Ethiopia border. The two countries are in disagreement about a dam to built in the Benishangal Gumuz region of Ethiopia, close to Sudanese border. And Sudan, when it is now split, sees Ethiopia differently. Burhan, though, visited Ethiopia a few days ago, but still, Burhan Ethiopia relations are not very friendly. Burhan mistrusts Abiy, that Abiy is an ally of the Rapid Support Forces. And Rapid Support Forces of Hamdan Dagalo are backed by the UAE. UAE has bases in Chart, from where it is supplying military aid to Rapid Support Forces. And since UAE is very close to Ethiopia, so Al Burhan believes that UAE, Ethiopia, and RSF are part of the nexus in the region. Sudan Ethiopia border crossing has been closed. One border crossing, and that is Kalabat border crossing. I think it is in Gidaraf, not Matimma. Matimma, I think, is open, but Kalabat is closed. Who closed the border crossing, Ethiopia or Sudan? Reportedly, Sudan closed the border crossing. Sudanese authorities of Gaddarif state closed border, and this morning we got confirmation that border is closed. Question is, why was the border closed? Is it linked to Ethiopia-Eritrea tension? Because if there is more escalation of tensions between Ethiopia and Eritrea, you'll see that Eritrea will activate its allies, Somalia, Sudan, and you could see tensions on Sudan-Ethiopia, Somalia-Ethiopia border. To send a message to Ethiopian government, Eritrea might activate its allies. That allies should put pressure upon Ethiopian government through activities on border. It could happen, by the way. Since Sud authorities closed the border, so it means that something happened there, and it is being reported by some sources. Details have not been shared that some Sudanese were mistreated by Ethiopian Groups entered Kalabat, and there was a clash between Ethiopian groups and Sudanese farmers, reportedly. Other sources say that Sudanese who are entering Ethiopia, they're being mistreated. That is why the border crossing is closed. So we're trying to get details of the actual reason behind the closure of the border. Only confirmation is that border has been closed, and it was done by Gaddaraf authorities. Matimma is open. It means that it's not that Sudan, Ethiopia are not. It's not that the border is completely closed. One crossing open, but closure of the crossing, Klabat crossing, indicates there are problems on the border. By the way, Sudanese who are entering Ethiopia are suffering. They're entering mainly the Amhara region of Ethiopia. In the Amhara region, we are seeing fighting, clashes, and sometimes these refugees find it difficult to move to other parts of Ethiopia. Even the people of the Amhara region are in a difficult position because if clashes erupt, they cannot go out, they cannot buy groceries, so they suffer. And Sudanese who entered Eritrea too, they are in a difficult position there. A few days ago, a Sudanese news source published a report saying that Sudanese who had entered Eritrea were being stopped from moving towards Asmara, and they were abandoned on roadside and in mosques. So Sudanese people, due to the war in Sudan, are trying to move into neighboring countries. But in neighboring countries, there are conflicts, there are economic challenges, so they are suffering there. Secondly, viewers, Ethiopian government is continuing its narrative that no matter what happens, it wants access to the sea. All parts of the government machinery are sharing posts, videos, pictures, interviews. All day we see that. Even a state-backed news outlet went to the extent of showing Eritrea as part of Ethiopia on a controversial map of 2 days ago. So such is the gravity of the situation, and almost on daily basis we see statements from Ethiopian ministers, ambassadors, government officials who talk about the need of a port for Ethiopia. An Ethiopian minister has shared her picture from the sea. Who is she? She is Aisha Muhammad, who's Minister of Irrigation. She shared this picture just a few hours ago. You can see the picture on your screen. Any text with this picture? No text. The text is no caption needed. So Aisha is basically saying that Ethiopia wants access to the sea. No explanation needed. No matter what happens, Ethiopia wants access to the sea. That is why I say there is a method in the madness of Ethiopian PM Abiy. The position he took more than a month ago did not come out of blue. Extensive discussions were held. Ethiopian government people are convinced. They believe that that Ethiopia should get access to the Red Sea. This is an existential issue for Ethiopia. That is why all day we see posts from parts of Ethiopian government machinery. Eritrean government is silent, but it has activated its assets. Eritrean government's assets are social media activists, news outlets, journalists, and their ambassadors too. They are doing the same too. All day they criticize Ethiopian government. They criticize Ethiopian PM Abiy. They want to prove that PM Abiy is an incompetent leader, that Ethiopia wants to annex Eritrean territories. And through these campaigns launched by pro-Eritrean government elements, Eritrea wants to create unity in diaspora. It wants to leave no space for Eritrean opposition groups who joined this campaign. Later, they realized that they should not be part of this campaign to call for protection of Eritrean sovereignty and territorial integrity, though they are in support of Eritrean territorial integrity and sovereignty, but they are not part of the campaign now. They're not speaking against Ethiopia now. They're saying that, first of all, there should be a regime change in Eritrea and then talks can be held. So, overall, we can sum up that Ethiopian government is not withdrawing. People said maybe Abiy would apologize, or maybe Abiy and Isaias were playing games. They're not playing games. Abiy is serious, he's determined. Question is, how far will he go? What means does he have available to gain access to the sea? Though he ruled out military option, but can you trust him? No, because leaders sometimes don't declare wars, but they're planning wars. So no one clearly knows. But Ethiopian government is pretty convinced that no matter what happens, it wants access to the Red Sea. Thank you for watching.